You're listening to Radio Long Island City, recorded at our studios near Hell Gate, 9 kilometers north of the Harbor Hill Moraine. And now, the Observatory. The Observatory, Tuesday the 9th of June, 2026. It is 81 days after the spring equinox. It is 12 days before the summer solstice. In today's episode, Magnolias, the Book of Common Prayer, Chief Red Cloud, Donald Duck, Joseph McCarthy, and Michael J. Fox. The sun rises today at 5:24 a.m. Solar noon takes place today at 12:55 p.m. The sun sets today at 8:26 p.m. Civil twilight ends at 8:59 p.m. and nautical twilight ends at 9:42 p.m. The length of daytime today is 44 seconds longer than yesterday. The moon is in its waning crescent phase and is 36% full at midday. The moon rises today at 1:32 a.m., and then it sets at 2:14 p.m. These are the predicted tides today for Horn's Hook. In the early morning, high tide, 5:29 a.m., 1 meter 37. Near midday, low tide, 11:38 a.m., 12 centimeters. In the evening, high tide, 6 p.m., 1 meter 58. In our shared realm of plants and animals, the southern magnolia in Socrates Sculpture Park has just come into bloom. Our climate is borderline for this tree, but in spots that are protected from harsh winds, they can survive our winters. There's a famous southern magnolia at 677 Lafayette Avenue in Brooklyn that was planted as long ago as 1885. Our tree shed the last of its browned leaves 2 weeks ago, and 2 days ago the first flower appeared. A large white globe. It has a wonderful scent, lemony with a tinge of vanilla. It's just the first. The tree is covered with buds, ready to open. Commemorations. On this day in 1549, the Book of Common Prayer was adopted by the Church of England. It replaced the worship services in Latin that had been used in the pre-Reformation Church, and was written in, as the book itself says, a language understanded of the people. The Book of Common Prayer, like the plays of Shakespeare and the King James Bible, helped create modern English. It gave us so many idioms that we use today. Land of the living, weigh the merits, lead a new life, all my worldly goods, give up for lost, at death's door, make haste, at their wits' end, make much ado, and the upper hand. On this day in 1870, the Oglala Sioux chief, Red Cloud, met President Ulysses S. Grant at the White House. Having been a warrior in his youth, after the signing of the 1868 Fort Laramie Treaty, Red Cloud became a skilled diplomat. This would not be his only trip to Washington to argue for his people and hold the United States to its treaty obligations. The dynamics of power at the time were not in his favor. Remember the witness of Red Cloud. On this day in 1934, Donald Duck made his debut in the Walt Disney Silly Symphonies cartoon, The Wise Little Hen. Based on the fable The Little Red Hen, it shows Donald Duck and his friend Peter Pig shirking their chores until Mrs. Hen teaches them the value of hard work. Standing up to bullies. On this day in 1954, at a hearing of the House Un-American Activities Committee, Joseph N. Welch, Special Counsel for the United States Army, finally had enough of the antics of Senator Joseph McCarthy. He famously said, "Senator, I think I never really gauged your cruelty or your recklessness." And later he added, "You've done enough. Have you no sense of decency, sir? At long last, have you left no sense of decency?" Today we wish a happy birthday to Michael J. Fox, born this day in 1961 in Alberta, Canada. Probably his first breakout was the series Family Ties, and then of course he went on to make the Back to the Future movies. But his filmography is a long, long list. Since his diagnosis with Parkinson's disease in the late 90s, he has continued to act when he can, and he's been a tireless advocate for medical research for people with the disease. He's shown a lot of stamina and courage. Happy birthday, Michael J. Fox. In our preparations for the 4th of July, we offer you these words of Martin Luther King, Jr. He wrote, A nation that continues year after year to spend more money on military defense than on programs of social uplift is approaching spiritual doom. And that is the Observatory, Tuesday the 9th of June, 2026.